What's up, motherfoxers? My Ecoboost, my pocketbook. I'll tell you the same thing I've said all along. They are good running engines, they'll pull a house, but when they get in the high mileage, there's high maintenance. So I've done the second timing chain I did myself. First one was in 2018 and I hadn't had any problems with it since then. And that timing chain, I think it was just right before they figured out what was causing the stretching on these first gen Ecoboosts. Then I replaced the turbos for refurbished turbos and the 11 bolt BD diesel manifolds. It's just when it gets in this high mileage, there's things you got to replace, and there's a lot of them. So that's my biggest complaint about them. But other than that, like I said, they freaking run great and they pull a house. So before we even did the turbos, I had noticed there was a leak, and it was coming from the back of the passenger head. I thought, no, it wasn't a big deal, but it started getting worse. Now it's really bad. And I thought it was the valve cover, but when I was tightening it a few weeks ago, the bolts back there, I was feeling, and I'm like, what is this thing behind the head? What is this? But it just seemed like the oil was still coming from the valve cover. And then replaced the valve cover, no go. I looked up on YouTube, 3.5 Ecoboost, passenger side oil leak. Up comes this thing called a vacuum pump. The very thing that I felt back there and wondered, what the hell is that? 3 bolts, it comes out. I've seen guys on the internet and they pretty much just lay up on the engine and do it. So this is what I'm going to try. And I think it's like $150 parts. The seal inside just wears out. So there's another thing. There's nothing, I mean, there's still, I'm sure, a lot left I can learn about these engines, but I pretty much know what all the parts did. When I first got it, I didn't know what anything did. So here we go. We're going to go out there and attempt to undo this thing with the 3 bolts that are, you can't see them. So let's go take a look. Alright, if you can see back there, that little tube going up there, that's where the vacuum line hooks into that vacuum pump. And the old funkster got all 3 bolts out. They say the one you can't get out, but the old funkster got it out. That wasn't after, you know, the abyss of this engine bay swallowed up my ratchet, and I had to go for an adventure for that. And I realized I should probably get this guy. They're on there pretty hard, man. They are on there pretty damn hard. It's like I had to put this on, and then I had to use both hands to pull it. So, and after you get them loose, they come right out. So there's a shaft on the end of that. I gotta remember which way it's oriented, because it's got to go back into the cam. Yeah. So I gotta go get a new one of these, which is like almost like $175. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And it should pull right out. And it's got 2 dowels on it, locator dowels on a couple of the bolt holes. So I can't imagine putting this back in. I got these zip tied off over here, but I'm gonna have to probably zip tie that that electrical line that's hanging up there to get it out of the way. But and then I'll pull this out of here. This is, why can't this be on the front of the engine? We'll do what we can. So there it is. If you can see, it's cracked. It's cracked up there, and you can just see where the massive amount of oil was leaking out of this thing was right there, and that's the bottom. So I'm just gonna go get another one. There's people that replace the O-rings in them. You probably could do that, and it'll probably be fine, but I'm not gonna do that. All right, $165 later. Now the only thing we got to do is just make sure this is clocked the same as this, which I believe I got it there. Looks kind of, you know, right. And this thing came out in like not even 10 minutes. I don't think it's going to take me, I think it's just going to take me a lot longer than 10 minutes to get this thing in there. But anyway, they put RTV, there's like a little ledge here and right here. It's like where that's like where the head is. So I gotta put some RTV here and there, and then try to manipulate this thing inside there. And yeah, this feels like rubber and not like plastic. So let's hopefully this does not take me like 100,000 minutes. All right, like I said, it took me 15 minutes, maybe even less than that, to pull that thing out of there. I don't know, we were screwing with this thing for like 2 hours, trying to get it in. And here's the funny thing. When I pulled that out, I was trying to twist it to turn it out, which must have turned that shaft. So we finally get what we thought was in, but the thing was rocking when we had it on the dowels, when we should have just put the bolts in and drew it in. So all that time we were screwing with it, it was pretty much in there. So we'll probably see some, hopefully what I'm about to see is whatever oils on the manifolds burn off, and then it stops. It shouldn't leak. If it keeps burning, we have an issue, but there is probably still oil on there. And let me go start this thing and see what happens. All right, it's just getting warm. So right now it's just burning off what's there. Hopefully we don't have an issue here. So we'll just keep letting it run here, let it burn off all this crap. Well, I think we got it. It's still smoking. Like I said, there's a lot of oil on stuff down there. The whole undercarriage has got oil on it, guys, but that's not nowhere near where that's burning. It's just, you got the manifold right underneath where it was leaking, and it's right onto the turbo, and it's all that stuff. The turbo mounts to the manifold, all that stuff soaked in oil. So it's gonna burn for a little while. Yeah, rust proofing. But yeah, that's not as bad. It would be burning worse than that. So it's just burning off. So I think we got it fixed. So if you got an oil leak on the passenger side of your Ecoboost, it's called the vacuum pump, and have fun. And get it off quick, but I'm telling you right now, putting it back in, it could go quick too if, you know, you got that thing orientated right. Later.